Hey listeners, you're listening to the Midnight Readers Podcast. Grab some tea, a midnight snack, and cuddle up in bed as we dive deep into today's most popular fantasies, sci-fi, and mysteries. We're your hosts. I'm Lily.
I'm Brittany.
And I'm Christy.
This season, we'll be discussing a dark academia bully romance series known for its smutty content and often billed as a Harry Potter for adults. That's right, grab your Stardust. We're headed to Solaria.
Welcome to Zodiac Academy. Note to students, vampire bites, loss of limbs, or getting lost in the Wailing Woods will not count as a valid excuse for being late to class or this podcast.
In today's episode, we're going to be discussing Book 4, Shadow Princess, chapters 1 through 16, where Tory and Darcy try to come to terms with what's been done to them, and Diego finally reveals what's with the hat and a few other secrets that he's been hiding.
Before we get into it, this is your warning for major spoilers ahead. This includes potentially all Zodiac Academy world books, including the Ruthless Poison Darkmoor Penitentiary series. We might accidentally let spoilers slip for other popular romantasy book series as well. Sorry in advance, like the books, this podcast is rated R. It's going to get spicy. Also language, so be warned.
Also a friendly reminder to please like, subscribe, and follow. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
All right, so last we saw the twins, Lionel Acrux had just kidnapped them and used them in a deadly ritual. They somehow survived. Their orders emerged, and Lionel used dark coercion on them to make them forget the whole night. Darius has been ordered to return them to school, and he takes them to King's Hollow. It's the only place that he feels safe from his father. They discuss what happened, and I find it very interesting that Lionel coerces the girls to forget everything, and yet when Darcy calls him an asshole or a psychopath, Darius doesn't even be like, but you're not supposed to remember that. He doesn't even bat an eye or immediately question why she even remembers that Lionel was there.
I guess that's true, but I think in my head, he's just so used to taking a beating from her verbally that he's not even worried about that, you know?
But Darcy's not the one who usually does say
it's
that.
not Tory.
I think, though, for them, that it's the fact that nothing surprises them anymore. I feel like he's so used to them not abiding by what they're supposed to do that even though this is something they shouldn't have control of, that it's just like, yeah, okay, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, that could be it. I always felt, even the first time I read it, it was very strange that he was like, yeah, I know. Instead of like, you're not supposed to remember.
But also, they just went through a horribly traumatic, life-changing ritual. I don't think he's thinking logically. I think he's just taking everything that's coming at him as it goes, because I don't know how you guys are, but in like a moment of deep anxiety, my brain doesn't think through things that way. I just kind of take in information and whatever comes out, comes out. You know what I mean?
I think that depends on the situation for me, honestly. None of the counselors ever took the throne because they are all equal in power. Now, Lionel has the shadows, so he's technically more powerful than the other three. He could claim the throne all for himself. Do we think that's what his plan is? How's this going to play out?
For sure. I think we thought that that was going to happen anyway at some point, even before we knew that the shadow ritual was going to happen.
And the shadows are illegal. So how do you think that Lionel's going to get around that?
I don't think he is. I think he feels like if he's the most powerful, that he's going to make the laws bend to his will. I'm curious to see what the other families are going to do, if they will be now on the side of the twins once they figure out Lionel is trying to boot them off the council, take everything for himself.
Totally agree with that. I mean, absolute power rules absolutely, right? So he's probably not thinking of the laws of the situation. If he were thinking about the laws of the situation, he wouldn't be doing dark magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get the feeling he's the type that rules don't apply to him.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I can see that now. Tory is blaming Darius for what happened. Any thoughts on that?
So exhausting.
This is why I was like, remember that you liked her.
She still has her good points too, but here's what I would love to ask her. Now, you sat there in that same conflict and you put everybody else's life at risk to save your sister. So why are you dinging him for saving his brother for the same thing.
She literally was fighting back, and he said, well, if you fight back anymore, I'm going to kill your sister. And she stopped immediately. And Darius did the same thing, and yet he somehow didn't do enough.
Yeah, the only reason that Tori is not royally pissing me off more than, I mean, she is annoying me, but the more reason that I'm not super angry with her is I do get that she just feels betrayed and feels like from the beginning they've been out for her, and she's really confused by her feelings for Darius despite the things that he's done, and he continues to be kind of difficult with her, and he does make some efforts to be vulnerable, but he could try harder with that too. So
he could.
I feel like on one hand she's pissing me off a lot, but at the same time I do still kind of understand where she's coming from.
Yeah, though Darius has made it clear that he is not on her side. Why does she feel betrayed?
You mean that he is on her side?
Like, Darius has made it clear that he's going to do whatever he can to get her out of school, that he's not on her side, that he doesn't owe her anything, and yet she feels betrayed by him.
I mean, just because he's being honest and upfront about it doesn't mean it doesn't suck. Because, I mean, if you have feelings for someone, I could see why it would feel complicated.
She's not willing to admit that she has feelings for him.
But she does, though. It doesn't matter if she admits it or not. I just feel like even though he's being honest about being an asshole, it doesn't make him not an asshole. He's still doing shit that's frustrating. So yeah, it's nice that he's aware of what he's doing and he's making it clear to her and being honest. But at the same time, that doesn't change how she feels. She's still gonna feel that regardless. Anyways.
Well, there's one part where she does specifically comment. It made me feel a little bit better about her, but she specifically comments that he's never said the words, I'm sorry for trying to drown you.
Right.
Sorry for, and all he needs is to say that, and then maybe the rest will. But I think that might be some of it, is the fact that he has never formally said, I was wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, it's mentioned several times that the shadows feed on your worst feelings and makes them stronger. Do you think this is what's fueling those emotions? Maybe the hyping up her anger? And it seems to me, at least, that the shadows are affecting Tori way more than they are affecting Darcy.
Yeah, well, I think Tori already had so much darkness compared to Darcy. And I think that they feed off of that so much easier. So, I mean, we see it near the end of this section a little bit, where she kind of loses control of her emotions when she's talking to Darius. And we'll get to that eventually, but I think that it becomes evident there what's going on.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that.
Lionel thought the girls were fire harpies, but they're not. They're phoenixes. And we did discuss this a little last episode, but Darius is completely like, that's not possible. There can't be phoenixes. And Orion knows right off that they are. I also love that Darius notes several times that he's looking at Gwen like she's the world.
And he doesn't realize.
Yeah, but he's like fucking dead to the world about it. He's like, wow, he's looking at her like I've never seen. And then he's like, anyways.
Maybe he feels guilty.
So obvious. Anyways.
Yeah. And Orion says that they could be like the Fae of old, legendary, the most powerful Fae in millennia, but they have to hide it.
Yeah.
How long do you think that's going to last?
Not very.
Not long. Not even a full book.
Yeah. I think I think that's what the end of the book is going to be, is Tori is going to lose it and be like, flame on! Yeah.
Flame on!
Flamio Hotman.
So when Lance says the girls don't have the shadows, they have this silent communication that I personally have always assumed that was about keeping the shadows to themselves, a secret. And in the last book, they seem to have acknowledged that they had the shadows, but then we find out later when they're alone in Max's bedroom that like they have this revelation moment where they say, oh, I think the shadows are with us. And I did not think about it until this read, but that part confused me. And if they weren't having that silent communication about keeping the shadows secret, what do you think it was about? Because I'm confused.
I'm a little confused.
I have no idea. I'm confused as well.
Are you talking about when they, like, right after when Lionel told them to forget and they kind of looked at each other like...
In King's Hollow, when they're talking, Orion says, at least you don't have the shadows. And the twins are looking at each other and they're talking through their eyes and make an agreement. And then Darius is like, you want to share that? And Tori's like, obviously not, dipshit.
So
that's just twins.
Yeah.
I always assumed that silent conversation was them agreeing to keep the fact that they had the shadows to themselves.
See, I took it as they were wondering at that point if they had the shadows. Like they knew something was off because of the way they were able to hold off his dark coercion, that they were thinking they might have it, but they weren't sure yet. Like it wasn't a thing. And then once they got later on, they were like, yep, we definitely have it.
But by that point, Tori says, our fire burns through bullshit. Like it's my order. And that conversation was after that.
Yeah, but I think they were wondering if it did actually go through them or not. Hadn't some other things happen that kind of made them think the shadows might be there?
In the last book, that's why this part is so confusing to me. And until we talked about it last episode, I don't remember thinking this when I first read it. But now that I'm actually looking at, what things are being said when, I was like, that doesn't make any sense. I guess we'll never know what that silent communication was about. And speaking of the shadows, Tori wants to keep it a secret. She does not trust Darius. She does not trust Orion. Throughout the book, she says Orion is teaching them less than he would teach Darius, and that they can do it on their own. And while I am definitely a girl who thinks that she can figure it out on her own a lot, for something so dangerous, I just want to slap her. Like, quit being so prideful about this. Quit being so paranoid. And I know I'm one to talk, but just learn. You didn't even know magic existed a couple of months ago, and now you're like, I got dark magic and I'm going to learn it all by myself.
But think of her background. House to house, never having a family. I mean, she never could rely on anybody else. That's all she's ever learned. And the only reason Darcy trusts him is because she's sleeping with him.
I get that. I do. I understand the feeling of not being able to trust people. But this is deadly. And they've said it over and over and over again. And yet she can't seem to understand how dangerous it is and thinks that it's fine. It's like, oh, there's a tightrope. I can learn how to do that. It doesn't matter if I make a slip and I'll fall to my death, but I know I can do it.
Yeah.
Tori is so used to relying on herself. I think that it gets in her way a lot. And honestly, that's one of the things that is starting to frustrate me about the books. Not just Tori championing her self-sufficiency. The fact that Darcy hasn't told her about Orion yet is infuriating.
To be fair, though, I don't know if she said it or not. She hasn't told Tori because it could get Tori kicked out of school as well.
And I get that, but I feel like at this point in the story where the four of them are intertwined in a very important subplot that has nothing to do with his job that could kill them, I just feel like in this moment she needs to talk to him about their relationship so that Tori will trust him a little bit more and understand where Darcy and Orion are, because I just feel like it's ridiculous that she's hiding it at this point. I really don't understand it. I do get that she's trying to protect Tori, but it's actually hindering Tori now.
I get that.
Yeah.
And I agree. She should tell Tori, especially now that they know that Cyclops can't get into their head.
Yeah.
So even if they are caught and they're interrogated, it's not like they can pull the truth out of her head.
Yep.
Yeah. And even her thought process of not wanting her to get kicked out too. Realistically, if Darcy got kicked out, would Tori not leave anyways?
Great point.
I don't know, because they have to graduate in order to get their money. And if Tori graduates, she could provide for Darcy later.
So they both have to graduate?
I don't know if they both have to.
That's the logical answer, but I feel like Tori would be like, fuck it, we're gonna figure it out ourselves. I don't need that money. Like, can't you hear Tori saying that?
We'll go get the bag of gold that we dug into the Wailing Woods.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, that bag of gold is still there.
Yep.
That's too funny.
Okay. So Darcy and Orion share this little moment about, this is not how I imagined us waking up together in the same house. I don't know your coffee preferences. Then we get that compared to Tori and Darius, where Tori can't even talk to him without exploding. Do we think that that relationship's going to change anytime soon?
I hope so.
Yeah, I have high hopes. I mean, especially with, again, the scene later. I think there's hope for it. it. I just need somebody to get Tori's head out of her ass.
Darius is too.
But he's trying, and she's not.
Again,
Yeah.
as Darcy points out, she's like, I know Tori has feelings for him, but if Darius would only apologize.
Yeah, say the words. I think so. That's the thing. I think he's trying to. She wants him to say the words. He's tried to open up some moments where he can, and then she shuts him down. So it's like, if you want him to say it, you need to give him the space to actually say it. Yeah, but he needs to stop the whole shit about, like, we've got to, like, bring them down when he's around the other ears. Like, knock it the fuck off. Tell him plans have changed. And then it's getting old.
Yeah.
All right, so Max and Geraldine.
Yes!
Oh, God, she is so fucking awesome.
They are so fun.
Love their dynamic.
Mm-hmm. And I love the fact that he is so willing to look like a total fool. Getting her is the only objective at this point. Like, screw the whole Vegas stuff, screw Solaria.
Well, later on, he plays it off as, I'm going to take their biggest cheerleader. You guys should thank me. Like, do you really think you're going to take her from the Vega twins?
Lady Petunia has moved on.
You were about to go down on her, and she was like, I have to go get buttery bagels for the twins.
Oh, God. Yes.
Just like, don't start that
Oh,
nonsense.
my God. He is, at some point, he is going to show up with an ass shirt or a badge. I know it.
Or buttery
I know
bagels.
it.
Oh my God, that would be great. But I love the moment where she's like, we can't tell anybody because I know this is embarrassing. And Max is like, oh, honey, do you think that I would be embarrassed? And she's like, no, why would you be embarrassed?
Obviously, I'm embarrassed of you.
Her statements.
What a queen.
How does she pull it off? Anybody else, that hillbilly would drive me nuts. And she does it. I love it.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, there were multiple times in this section of the book where I laughed out loud, like reading it.
Yeah. Max's assessment that she likes him but doesn't want an heir. I think that's a little accurate.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I love that Max ends this chapter with like, I'm going to make her mine. She will not get away.
I love that later Seth's like, what is happening to us? Like,
He's like,
you two are fighting over a Vega. You're going after the ass queen. And they're like, and you are pining over Darcy. He's like, that didn't count.
Yeah.
So Orion goes back to his place for a shower and comes across what the teachers did during the eclipse. With Washer passed out in a chair with his junk for everybody to see.
His tanned junk.
Oh, yeah, his tanned junk. And I love that Orion says that he covers him up for the sake of every man, woman, and goddamn tree in the vicinity.
yeah, I just have to say, I think this is the best book we've read so far because this section was so entertaining. Every time we turned around, I was laughing. I was like aghast. I was like, what is going on? Like, this section was so good.
Oh, yeah. The smart assness in this book was like epic level. I loved it.
Absolutely.
So while he's in the shower, he's thinking about Darcy, and he just realizes how important she is to him. And he makes a vow to kill Stella and Lionel. So at this point, Darius wants to kill Lionel. Xavier should want to kill Lionel. Tory wants to kill Lionel. Darcy wants to kill Lionel. Orion wants to kill Lionel. Any thoughts on maybe who might be able to accomplish it?
Oh, pretty sure the twins at some point.
They're the protagonists.
True, but there's a lot of people for them to kill. Who do you think has the most right to kill Lionel?
Xavier.
So far.
Do you say Xavier too?
At the exact same time.
At the exact same time, yeah.
Or Darius.
Yeah, I'd tell you who I think has the right to kill him, but I know Darius really wants to. And I hope he gets the chance. I just don't know if he has the most right to.
I feel like for Xavier, what I love about him is the fact that while he has the most right to, he might be the least likely to.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't seem like a kill kind of at this point. That may change. To protect himself, he wouldn't. To protect other people, I can see him doing it.
Yeah, no, he has a lot of growth to go through, which is heartbreaking.
Speaking of, do we think that he's risen up Sophia in the background throughout this whole section? Because I think Sophia was talking to him on the Atlas.
Well, I think so too. Like, her when she's like, he, and Tori's like, is Tyler sending you dick pics? And then Tyler comes up and says, no, I'd never send her. And she's like, immediately, I'm going to put my phone away.
Sophia, what have you been up to?
Yeah. Well, she liked Diego and Tyler at the same time, and she did tell Tori that she couldn't choose between them, so she might be playing the field still.
Maybe she could have a harem.
I'm just thinking how Diego would ever
Oh my
be a
God.
part of the equation.
Yeah, kick him out.
That should be an easy, nope.
You would take Tyler's frosted tips over Diego's, cowardice.
Yes, Tyler's tips would win.
Man. All right. So Ryan has a meeting with Tori, Darcy, and Darius to tell them what he's learned so far about the Phoenixes. And he starts thinking that there might be another way for Darius and the twins to deal with this issue about the throne. And how do we think the boys are going to take that if proposed?
Not well.
I mean, if they're sharing the throne 4 ways, what's not to share it 6 ways?
That would be so funny.
Yeah, it'd be funny.
Yes, I would love that conversation.
I don't think that's what's gonna happen though. 6 ways,
Why not?
in my head, it just doesn't make sense.
Also, I thought about this recently. I was like, I love how they call themselves kings. But even the current counselors do not call themselves kings or queens.
Yeah.
They are just counselors. So what makes them think that they're gonna be kings?
They're not monarchs.
They're just rulers.
But the thing is though, if you had it with the 6, isn't that so very unfair? Because technically the twins will end up being way more powerful. And the whole point of the council is they have equal power. So
yeah, and the council is technically supposed to advise the monarch.
right.
but that would be very unfair of them to share power with lower powered beings.
It's an issue that might come up.
Oh, really? It might come up.
Yeah, it might come up. Yeah. But I think that the reason he's starting to think this is because 1, he's in love with Darcy, and 2, he's starting to realize just how powerful the girls are and just how likely it is that the heirs will defeat them. And they're also good people. So he's like, and Caleb points this out later. He's like, at some point, we're going to push them so far that they're going to fight back. That's going to cause problems.
Yeah.
I actually think all of them except for Seth would end up being okay with them sharing the throne with them. I think Seth would be the only one that would be upset, truly upset.
I feel like Caleb would be upset.
Really though? But then he could marry her, couldn't he? Because they would be equal.
I don't think that's what he
No?
wants.
I know that's not what happens, but
I mean, Caleb is very clear that he does not see Tori as a long-term relationship.
but only because he can't. It isn't
Maybe.
that he doesn't want it. It seems it's more that I cannot. This is not what I've been told is my future.
That's what he said, but
I personally got the feeling that he's using that as an excuse.
if he really wanted it, he'd find a way. If he wanted to, he would.
Yeah, I mean, y'all think that Darius is going to end up with Tori. He's got the same situation.
Yeah.
He's a
Yes,
counselor.
but hopefully his father will be dead. Therefore, there will not be family members to be like, why didn't you do this? Oh my God. She can't come over for Thanksgiving.
Well, it's not just about the family members and the fact that Lionel wants Darius to have dragon babies. It's also about the fact that if Darius and Tori have kids, their kids will be more powerful than the other counselors' kids and therefore disrupt the balance of the council.
Again, I go back to, if you have the option to have the most power, aren't you supposed to take it? So wouldn't foregoing power be an unfair thing, technically?
In a sense, they're keeping the power because they're going out of their way to preserve what they have. So
Yeah.
if they had children that were more powerful, then they are no longer the powerful ones. I guess
In theory,
sort of.
yeah, in theory, if Lionel would have had more powerful kids than the other counselors' children, then the other counselors would turn on them. And so for this situation, it's all about the balance of power. Because then again, like Darius pointed out, Lionel is now more powerful than the other counselors. He could technically claim the throne.
Yeah, so if he was willing to do the whole shadow craziness, why not just have you some dragon babies that will give you the same power advantage? There's your throne. Okay, bye-bye.
If he were to marry somebody to get more powerful babies, he would have to marry someone with more power than himself.
Which doesn't exist besides the Vegas.
Yeah.
As far as we know.
Then why isn't he BFF with Vegas?
Because he also thinks that you have to be pure and they're not dragons. He also does not like people who are more powerful than him
Yeah.
because he wants to be the most powerful.
Ain't that some shit?
He would totally subjugate Darius if he could, but also he needs Darius. So
For now.
For now.
For now.
All right. So during this meeting, someone knocks on his window and it's Gabriel Knox. I'm so excited that he's finally joined this series. So he is from the Ruthless Fae series. And I think I've told y'all this before, but I did not like him in that series, especially after seeing his character in this series. He is funny. He is strong. He is confident. And in that series, he's kind of a whiny bitch. But I love him. He's one of my favorite characters.
He's really fun in this book. He does get a little annoying with the future things sometimes, but, you know, I'm still enjoying him.
He does that a lot. Like with his family, he'll be like, I had a seeing, and if you eat that pancake, you're gonna choke on it. And so they don't eat the pancake, and
God.
he gets it.
He's too manipulative.
Yeah, so that's how he uses his sight. Just like, I saw that this is gonna happen. So it's hilarious. And spoiler alert, he's part of the harem, which they never say in this book. But his wife is a vampire, and his husbands-in-law are the Storm Dragon, a Lion Shifter, and a Basilisk. But he tells, I think, the Basilisk that you can't have sex during pregnancy. So while his wife is pregnant, he refuses to have sex with his wife so that he could have more sex with his wife. Just, yeah, stuff like that. And they like play jokes on each other. But to be fair, to start off, like they're from Aurora Academy in Alestria, and that city is controlled by gang members. And they were like heads of the gangs that she brought together. And yeah, that's why he doesn't like a snitch.
So he was a gang member.
He grew up in a gang city. He was a loner who was also the most powerful Fae in that city.
He's kind of a bubbly gang member. I mean,
You've obviously
very
never met
sparkly.
gang members.
Never met one that was like, jazz hero.
Very sparkly? What do you mean he's sparkly?
Well, he's always like happy and sassy.
He met his Elysian mate.
Does that always make you happy and sassy?
No, it's just,
He just seems like, I don't know.
I think it's more of the being on top.
I'm not answering that.
He's like, these whiny little
He's like,
rich
they don't know.
kids.
In
Oh,
the
Kylie,
in the
that was
audiobook, I would argue he sounds more like cocky than like sassy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so Gabriel offers to be the head of their order enhancement class so that they don't give away their phoenixes. And of course he was like, I had a powerful vision. I know that you're phoenixes, so I'm in
He's
the
like,
club.
it's fine. I would have known anyway, so might as well move on with our lives.
Yeah. And they have these cute little nicknames for each other. Noxie
Gag.
and Oreo.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I get the Noxie thing and I get the Oreo thing, but I never really liked the Noxie one.
Foxy Noxy.
That's what I call my dog, except for it's Foxy Roxy.
There's a true crime case with a girl called Amanda Knox. In the tabloids, they called her Foxy Noxy, which is pretty fucked up. But
Well, the whole thing was fucked up.
yeah, I mean, yeah, but also that was just the first thing I thought of. I was like, oh, weird.
Also, there's Nox from ACOTAR. That also
That's who I
reminds
thought
me
of.
Oh, yeah. You mean not ACOTAR, Throne of Glass?
Oh, yeah. They're glass. And yeah.
Oh, no. ACOTAR, they named their baby Nyx.
Yeah.
Or is it? Yeah, okay.
Okay, spoiler.
Yeah.
We
Give a
said.
spoiler warning.
It's okay.
But yes, it is Throne of Glass, isn't it?
Yeah, I also thought of Broken Bond because, like, a main character is named Knox.
That's true, isn't it? Oh my god, I forgot about Nox there too.
He's your least favorite, though, right?
yeah.
Yeah, and that's for good reason.
Yeah. Another reverse harem.
Yep. Anyways,
All right, so we learned that their magic regenerates by fire, and so that means they can self-replenish since they both hold the element of fire and they have the phoenix fire. So they're basically endless as long as they have fire that they can produce, then their power is endless.
yeah.
They are also impervious to all fire, including elemental and fires from manticores, hydras, and dragons, which Darius is so not thrilled about. But Tori, of course, is like, I just want to, make sure of this so that everybody knows their limitations. Got to rub it in. Orion.
Mm-hmm.
Tori and Darcy are also having shadow-induced nightmares, and they're hearing people talk in their sleep, and someone is calling out to them. They don't know who it is, but it's a female voice. Any thoughts on this?
Isn't it sort of alluded to later from Diego's uncle?
Well, they do talk about the Shadow Princess, but is this the Shadow Princess?
I would think so.
Is it the mom?
What?
Okay.
I was going to talk about this later, but when they talk about in the last chapter, Darcy has a vision, and there's the girl who's talking, come help me, save me. And then it says, after that, Darcy also sees someone whose flesh matched her own and whose soul was like her own, and a man with endless eyes who held her close and begged her not to go. I never thought of this passage until this read. And I was like, is that their mom and dad?
That's cool. I didn't catch it.
Okay, I'm going to throw something out, and it is completely out of left field and probably completely wrong. Is there any chance their dad is somebody different than the king?
What makes you think that?
I don't know. Like, there's been all this horrible stuff about the king, how terrible of a person he is. And I don't know. It'd be kind of cool if their dad was actually somebody else that actually had the Phoenix genes in him, and he was like a really great guy, and that was who was calling out to him.
There hasn't been a Phoenix in 1,000 years.
I mean, it could have been in the king's genes too, but I just thought that would be cool if it was like their dad ended up actually being some sort of warrior. I don't know. Like I said, it's probably completely wrong. But
their dad is the king. Sorry.
I think he wasn't as crazy as they're saying he is.
You think he was a good guy?
I think he was a better guy. I don't know how good of a guy he was, but my guess is he was not as insane as they're making him out to be for some reason.
Okay. I can't remember. Did Astrum make him out to be a bad guy too? I know he liked the mom.
I don't think so.
He served him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where is Astrum, by the way?
He might be dead.
Might
I don't
be.
believe that. I don't believe that. I think he's alive.
The things I want to say. Anyway, so Gabriel is the new tarot teacher. He is the sight, and he's Orion's nebular ally, or as Orion puts it, his soul friend.
They're so gay together. I love it. I love
it. Oh, man.
He's also their nebular ally.
Potentially. It's not like,
Gabriel's
like, I've seen enough of our relationship to know that we are, but it's never been officially confirmed or anything. And you'll see.
How do they confirm stuff like that?
You'll see.
Okay. Okay.
In this
bracelets.
What?
Bracelets,
yes. Yeah, bracelets.
Of course. Friendship bracelets.
So we were talking about the nightmares that they had before we got derailed. So Tori is having to drink herself to sleep every night in order to actually get some rest. And Lily, you mentioned in one episode that you thought maybe Darcy would develop an addiction. Do you think Tori is developing an addiction here?
For sure. I don't remember saying that.
I think it was like episode 2 or something like that.
Yeah, I don't.
Because we talked about her shopping addiction.
Yeah, about Tori's. I assumed that since Tori had one, Darcy would have one. I was like, there's going to be something, but Darcy has managed to dodge a lot of bullets.
Well, she has
somehow.
an addiction. It's just of the male variety.
It's just Orion.
We can't get enough.
I can't blame her either. So.
Me neither. All right. So Tori's on a run, and she runs into Caleb, and her eyes darken in front of him, and he notices. Do we think she's going to be able to keep the shadows a secret?
No.
So with her having them and it being illegal and Lionel not knowing, then she could tell on Lionel.
They're going to have to hide her like Xavier. I don't know what they're going to do, but I have a feeling it's going to come to a head soon. Like, I don't think it's going to last long. With the way that it continues to build, and she doesn't seem to recognize how dangerous it is for her to practice it by herself.
Not to mention the heirs are like, we have plans to destroy them.
Yeah.
She isn't going to use the shadows to fight back. Darius isn't going to think about that. Like...
Yeah, this was like he's gonna knock that shit off. But yes, no, that part I do agree with you. For her to ask Orion for help, I understand her hesitance to do so, but the fact that she is screwing around with it on her own.
It's like a drug.
She's trying to. That she definitely is making poor choices.
Things are going to come to a head. There's going to be some kind of huge fight, or she's going to get close to dying, or some shit is gonna happen, and then it's gonna be another moment where Darius thinks he's gonna lose her, and they're gonna have their moment together, I think.
Caleb brings up the eclipse and Darius and whether or not Tory hooked up with him, and he gets all kinds of jealous.
Yeah.
I love him and their relationship to a certain degree.
Yeah, same.
But I want to slap him here because he was like, of course I'm not going to marry you. I can't put you in a position of power. Like, okay.
She's saying, you know, it's not that you are terrible. It's just that you obviously don't want to be with me long term. Why would I give a shit about being with you long term? Like,
yeah.
And he agrees. And then he's upset about it.
Yeah.
Like,
well, he's like, I want you to be exclusively mine, but also I don't want to commit to you. Like, I'll be exclusively yours. And I love that we get the parallel when Orion asks to be exclusively Darcy's. And he's like, I'll be exclusively yours. And that's it. He doesn't say you have to
beautiful.
be. You don't have to be exclusively mine. Just for however long you allow it, I will be yours.
I could literally will lose it. I love him so much. He is so good.
My favorite.
I will be really upset when they try to break them up. I'm going to fight somebody through the pages.
I'm assuming you love the part of I'm all in.
Absolutely. Yes.
The sky will fall in. Say it then. I'm all in. Is it gonna fall in? Okay. Then Darius comes up and said, like, he asked her to hang out later that night, and Darius is like, she's busy. And she's like, no, I'm not. And then he's like, well, your order just came out. You may not be able to control it. And Caleb, don't come crying to me when she burns your dick off. And I love that Tori's like, oh crap, what if I do that? I don't want him
Caleb's
to
like, I'm willing to risk it.
And she's like looking at his dick going,
that's great.
I don't want that. So, maybe we shouldn't. And then she's like, I think I'm done with the heirs. And Sophia brings up Aurora Academy, where if any more students die, then they might have to close it. And she's like, maybe you can find yourself a normal psychopath there, where all the gangs are.
Oh my gosh.
So Max approaches Geraldine at breakfast, and they have this wonderfully breakfast innuendo conversation about, you're looking for things that are off the menu, and I want your buttery bagels. And I forget everything that they said, but I love that literally every conversation they have, it's complete metaphor and innuendo.
I love that he goes with it so hard. He's so fucking whipped for her. It took one time. And he was like, and I love that when he comes out of that moment in the first chapter, he's like, oh my God, that was life-changing. Wasn't it life-changing for you? And she was like, yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Like,
and I love that she plays it off so well. She's like, yeah, okay, you're fine. And then later she's like, well, he does know how to water the lawn.
Yeah.
Although when she keeps referring to it as floppy, he's like,
no. Ew. I love that when she says he knows how to water the lawn. I can't remember who it is, but someone's like, what does that mean?
I think it was Tori, but I could be wrong.
And that just encapsulates how I feel about half the shit she says. I'm like, what is she saying? Like,
and I feel like Max is one of the few that actually understands what she's saying. Like, he speaks her language.
Sometimes.
Somehow, yeah.
He may not like what she says, but he understands it.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
It's very fun.
He does admit later that he's like, I don't really know what she's saying, but I also find it hot. So he's like, if anybody else.
And how is she so impervious to his powers? I don't know how she's
a fucking badass.
Her mental shields. As long
she's
as
just very good at it.
Yeah, as long as she works on her mental shields, she is very powerful. She also holds 2 elements, and while she might not have the same strength that the heirs have, she's very close.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
So we do go to tarot class, and Tori shows up late, and Kylie's like, sir, if somebody shows up late, you're supposed to take house points. He's like, 5 points from air. He's like, no, that's Tori. Darcy's the one with the obnoxiously colored hair.
Nobody likes a rat, Kylie.
Mm-hmm.
Also, he likes obnoxiously colored hair. because his wife has lilac hair.
Love it.
But yeah, I also love that he's like, oh yeah, and points off for what you were going to say to your friend there. And she's like, but I wasn't. And he was like, yeah, no, you were going to say that I was hot, which thanks, by the way, but I'm clearly just as big of a dick as Orion. And then
The hot ones always are.
yeah, and then they notice that he has the silver rings to note that he has found his Elysian mate. And that's the first time that they have encountered that in real life.
Because it's rare,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. He goes around to assess people's potential for the site and goes to Tory and Darcy first. And he has a card from Astrum.
Oh, yeah. And they're like, how did you get that?
And he's like, it came to me a couple weeks ago. Maybe when potentially Astrum died.
Potentially.
Astrom's still pulling the strings behind the scene.
And of course, he's like, well, I don't know who Falling Star is, but I've been receiving money from them my whole life. And I kind of wanted to know who he is. And they're like, don't get your hopes up. He's kind of, you replaced him.
Is that his daddy?
Gabriel?
His daddy?
His daddy, yes.
His daddy?
So Gabriel's story in Ruthless Boys is that he has no idea who his parents are. His memory has been erased.
So it's Astrom.
Ooh.
Why else would he send him money?
And he receives a stipend from Falling Star each month or whatever.
So it's got to be his dad.
Then I am shocked that they released who Falling Star was right away, if he is that big of a character in another series.
He never shows up in that series. It's just like Gabriel kind of like is, I don't know who this is.
Okay, so I think Astrom still...
And so far, he still doesn't know.
He does now, though.
Well, he doesn't know his past still. It's not, he's still oblivious to it.
But wouldn't that tell you that's who, like a parent that would take care? Or I guess that could be like somebody. What if he's like their brother?
What?
So what if he's like their brother and Astrom sent him a, I don't know. I'm going down a whole dark path of like coming up with like whole different stories.
You mean the twins?
Yeah.
I mean,
and that, like, I don't know.
That'd be weird because Tori thinks he's hot.
Tori said that she feels no sexual attraction to him, even though he objectively is hot and is basically exactly what she looks for in a man. But she thinks maybe the Elysian mate bond is making her feel no sexual attraction to him.
But he's not described as looking like them, really.
I don't honestly remember his description. I think he has dark hair. The most that I remember about his description is that he's almost always shirtless and has his black wings out.
Of course.
And he's got tattoos all over him.
Yes.
It's a good theory.
It's probably way off the mark. I'm just coming up with like...
I mean, their mother was a harpy.
Oh, that's true.
Brittany, I'm tired of you. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
But yeah, I mean, Gabriel does play an important role in the twins' life. I will say that.
Okay.
Could you imagine, though, if Gabriel was their brother, and then finding out that, he knows that, well, he potentially knows that Orion and Darcy are sleeping together, and Orion's supposed to be his best friend, and he's like, dude, you're sleeping with my sister. Mm-hmm. Find out that.
That'd be so wild.
It would be. But yeah, he was adopted. He has no clue who his family is, and he's been receiving money from Falling Star. And then we go to Cardinal Magic, where Orion is asking, why are the students still there? He says it's because 10% of the class is challenging him. They're questioning his knowledge and his authority. They fight him. They write him ridiculously long emails about why they can't do their assignments. And those are the students that are going to make it.
That's wild to me.
He's like, those are my favorites. But also you have detention.
Yeah, actually.
And now that they're full-fledged students, they have to join a club. And so there's the pitball team, the cheerleading squad, the ass club. And they were supposed to choose something, but they missed the email. And so they're like, nope, we want the ass club. We want it. And Orion's like, nope, time for choice is gone.
Yeah, he saw an opportunity and took it.
He assigns Tori the cheerleading squad.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
It's like, your peppy personality will be perfect for this.
Okay, but And that's so dangerous, too. They're wanting her to keep her order form hidden, and yet they put her next to what will blatantly set her off.
Yeah, she needs to learn control, Christy.
I don't think it's going to happen there.
Well, based on that last chapter, is she even going to show up?
He's going to drag her out there. There's going to be some flaming torches running the field for Marguerite and Kylie.
I can just see Tori sitting there with her little pom-pom going, yay, team.
I'm pretty sure she's going to shove them up their ass. I don't think...
Oh, man.
I just love the budding relationship between her and her future brother-in-law. It's so beautiful.
Man.
The club, yes.
Okay, so he assigns Darcy to the pitball team.
Which is fun, I have to admit. At first I was like, what the fuck? And then I was like, this is genius.
She is terrified because she's like, that's the most brutal sport I've ever seen.
At this point, why do I even question Orion? Because as a general rule, he makes decisions I enjoy.
Yeah, but to be fair, he, like, as the coach, I don't think that he would assign Darcy to the pitball team if he didn't think that she would be a good team member.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so they actually learn how to do an actual spell in today's class.
Yes.
They learned
Finally.
silencing bubbles, and while the twins managed to master it, Darcy passes out due to shadow interference.
Yeah, and they don't talk about that enough.
Yeah.
You know, like they address it, but then it never comes back up.
Yeah, I think that when they are invited to the shadow classes, it's supposed to be like, it's resolved.
Yeah.
But literally, what made her pass out? Did she give herself to the shadows? Like,
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, what happened? They're just like, oh, it was the shadows, and then they move on. But, like, what occurred there?
yeah. And this is the second time in the book that Diego is seen staring at her or Tori with wide eyes and is like,
He's like,
what's going on with y'all? But he's not talking to them either, so.
But, like, at this point, we're, like, celebrating that he's not talking to them, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Orion moves his liaison session with Darcy that night, and Darcy shows up with Tori, and later Darcy's like, maybe I should have warned him. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Like, come on now. Come on now.
Yeah, he's brought wine and a gift, and Tori's like, I see why you like these. No, you don't.
I keep trying to figure out, how does Tori not know? How does Tori not know? Because I feel like deep down, she knows.
As a
little
twin.
bit.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
she's made some comments about her crush on Orion, but I think Darcy's the goody two-shoes who doesn't do anything
Yeah.
against the rules, so
Yeah.
maybe that's why she's like, no, Darcy would never do that. Plus, we hate Orion because he's so far up Darius's ass.
Of course.
So they tell him that they have the shadows, and he kind of freaks out a little bit.
Which is fair. He's very worried about Darcy. And he also feels at fault.
Yeah, I can see that.
But I think he handles it well.
He didn't lecture them like Tori feared, so at least there was that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like he's protective sometimes to a fault, but it's always for a good reason.
And he invites them to the dark magic lessons with Darius, which Tori's like, can we have separate ones? No, honey, no.
Stop being a whiny bitch. Let's get this over with. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
And then after Tori leaves, Orion gives her the gift, sort of. She like, I smell a gift. Let me find it.
He gives her a rose quartz.
Yeah, which in Solaria means he wants to be exclusive.
I just love them. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
And Christy's like, you guys are so gross.
No.
I feel like you're like cringing at us. You're like,
Mm-mm. No. I get it. It probably the romantic parts. While I do get it, and I love them, like on kind of like a Buffy type, thing where you definitely want to see them together.
yeah.
I think more of mine is like the mystery part that I probably react to. And Jerry. Now, Jerry's love life, I am all in.
Yeah.
I am so
Yeah.
all in for that because it's so fucking
I
hilarious.
feel the same way about Tori, where I'm like, okay, that's nice.
Yeah.
But with Orion, I'm just like,
Same.
Now, I do want her and Orion together, and then Tori and Darius. I think I feel like they're destined, and it's just kind of a yep,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like watching people get together, but then again, at some point, I get over it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever get over Darcy and
Zayden
Orion.
Ryerson.
That too.
Sorry.
Yeah, no. Zayden's my boy, so which is weird because it was Reese and Cassian for the longest time.
There's a new king in town. But Orion is up there for me.
Yeah.
He's quickly moving up my list.
Yeah. Hopefully Zayden won't screw it up. So
Yeah. My God.
I like Orion though. I like his character.
I do
And I do like him with Darcy. The two of them together are hilarious. And I think they have the potential to be like a close second to Jerry and Max. Jerry and Max will be my ultimate favorite.
Yeah.
I just love their dynamic.
Oh yes. Oh.
So for their first shadow lesson, they meet Darius and Orion at the Air Cove cave, and immediately Tori and Darius start sniping at each other, and Darcy's like, okay, look, you're making life harder than it has to be. Stop it. And so Tori manages to swallow her pride and go apologize. Not for what she did, but for being a bitch.
Yeah.
And Darius does not. And he's like, it's cute that you think that you can control yourself. And I just want to slap him. Why didn't you just be like, I'm sorry for being an asshole? That's what she did. Why couldn't you do it? And this is where she admits that she feels betrayed by Darius. And she feels it so much that it physically hurts her to be in his presence. And after he doesn't apologize, she's like, well, apparently now there's just a dragon-shaped fart in the room that I have to avoid.
That was one of the parts where I laughed out loud. Because then she says it so casually. She was like, and then the fart. There's Orion, there's Darcy, and then the fart.
So kind of going back to what you asked before, is a lot of her attitude the shadows? Because they were in her by the time that she got really ridiculously off the rails with this whole thing.
Yeah. She started feeling the shadows the day after she cut herself with the draining dagger. So they've been in her a lot longer.
Okay, so maybe I've got a little more patience for her.
She's had contact with them a lot longer.
Yeah.
Because in order to do dark magic, you have to deal with the shadows, but you can't necessarily control it. But now they all have it.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe I have a little more patience for her now that a lot of this might be coming from the shadows and not really her.
Maybe.
So we need to exercise her like a demon.
Maybe she's just a bitch.
Maybe Darius should exercise her like a demon.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe she does need an exorcism. We'll see. Tori is the first one who tries the shadows. She manages to go in. She brings them to her hand, and then they coat her body and take over, and they want her to kill Darius.
Not good.
They make her feel invincible and unstoppable and the ultimate power, and she thinks that she can use this power to defeat Lionel, even though he has it too.
And she also thinks that she's better at using it because they haven't figured it out. I don't know why she assumes that they're not going to, but Darcy has to bring her back, and it takes a minute for her to get her back. She has to scream at her like, Tori.
Yeah, and it's like that moment there shows how dangerous they are, because if she gives in to them, she cannot come back no matter how much Darcy yells at her.
Yeah.
Supposedly. Okay. We finally get our first point of view from Xavier.
I love him.
What'd you guys think?
He's so precious.
Yeah.
Protect him at all costs.
Exactly.
His story is so sad, though.
I know. I love that his gamer tag is Glitter Dragon.
Yes.
I told you guys that. I just love that he has embraced it.
Glitter Dragon is AFK.
AFK forever now. Sadly.
Yeah. That was his only contact to the outside world, and Lionel destroyed it.
But it pushes him to talk to Sophia.
Yes. And of course he Facebook stalks her, and he's like, oh, she's hot.
Which I was a little, I don't know why, for some reason, I thought he was gay.
Gay?
Xavier, yeah.
But he kind of hits on Tori.
Does he? I thought he was just being like little brother funny. Why are you laughing?
Because of that, I feel like how Xavier would react.
Because what?
Because of Xavier and what he does later
Oh no.
and how he would react.
I could see him being queer.
He was just so gentle and precious. And so, I don't know why.
He's a good guy, so he must be gay.
He's a good guy, so he definitely isn't hetero.
Sadly.
That's fair.
There's a lot of characters in this series that are,
Yeah.
Seth being one of them.
Yeah, so, I mean, Xavier could be queer in some way.
But see, I wanted Xavier to have a male that would protect him. I wanted him to be in a relationship where somebody protected him and he wasn't the
That's
protector.
so sweet.
Darius has protected him his whole life.
This isn't Arkansas. I wasn't thinking.
I know, but maybe he needs to learn to protect himself.
No, I want someone to treat him like a princess.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, Christy. No, I want someone to treat him like a princess.
He deserves it after all the shit he's gone through. He
You're
deserves.
so right.
Yes.
You're so right.
Oh my gosh.
Although
That's
Sophia
great.
could easily do that for him and protect him and treat him like a princess.
I think Xavier is going to protect her.
She's not that powerful.
Yeah, so on that.
Well, okay, but still, she could. She'd be smart enough to.
She's smart.
I have this whole other world that this thing has become in my mind.
I just loved so much that you thought he was gay. And you totally missed the Tory thing.
So it was like little brother, like hee hee kind of thing.
It was both. Have you never met someone else's little brother?
Oh, I didn't think it was like a how you doing kind of thing.
I do love that he was like, Darius texts him and is like, I'm bringing somebody with me, but I'm coming home tonight. And he's like, ooh,
What's someone?
who are you bringing? And he was like, somebody with great legs and short shorts. And he's like, oh, if you don't date her, I will. He's like, I'll tell her, Ryan.
Yeah. But Xavier's like, he's upfront about it. He's like, you're missing out, you idiot.
I know, Lily, I think it was you who texted who was like, but what about Tyler?
Yeah.
I remember that.
I mean, I told y'all, Tyler gets a happy ending. Sophia
wanna
gets
know
a happy,
who.
well, I don't know what their endings are, but they get a relationship. Tyler gets a mate. Sophia gets a mate. Xavier will get a mate. Well, maybe not a mate. I don't know. But a partner.
Yeah.
So-
Love that.
It may be Sophia. It may be Tyler. It may be another Pegasus that he meets. You
Can
never
you imagine
know.
if Xavier ends up with Tyler?
Aw,
That would be funny.
that would be adorable.
That's not the protector that I had in mind.
It's not, but
Could you imagine what Darius would say?
Darius can suck it.
Especially now that Tyler's like full on Vega sitting with the ass club.
Think of Xavier in his little Pegasus adorable form with a little ass club shirt over his little Pegasus body. How cute would that be?
Why is he little? Why has he got to be little?
Well, not little, but like just in the adorable sense.
Right, of course.
He could be a big little.
Well, Glitter Dragon is going to have a fun story, I think.
Yeah, we learned some of the terror that Xavier is living with. Since he got the shadows, it's now a 90% chance of getting beaten if his father is home, whereas it used to only be 50%.
Terrible.
Yeah, even Jenkins is getting yelled at here, and Jenkins is Lionel's favorite person.
Tired of this man.
Yeah.
My heart can't handle it.
Yeah, it's hard, and it's gonna get harder. Sorry.
Great.
He overhears Stella and Alejandro talking about a shadow princess.
Right, that's what I was mentioning earlier, sort of, which makes you wonder, who is she?
For some reason, I thought it was like Tory somehow.
I don't think it's Tori.
So there's something very important in this conversation. Just saying that.
About the Shadow Princess.
Brittany immediately puts something in her mouth so that she has to shut up.
But yes, going back to the other, I do think that the reason why I thought maybe there was something that she was seeing in her, whoever she consults, that was talking about the Shadow Princess, and now that Tori is messing around with the shadows, that maybe there was something there that they were.
Do you think that the woman that they hear, the one asking for help and to be saved, is the shadow princess?
That's what I thought.
I don't know. Lily, what's your prediction? Those are usually correct.
Well, that's what I thought, but then I thought that the Shadow Princess was who they were dreaming about, but then you said something earlier that made me think not. So I don't know. But that was my original prediction.
I feel like we've disappointed Brittany.
She expects me to know everything. A strange rattle fills the air.
So a nymph?
Alejandro agrees but says they don't anymore. Stella calls him a liar, and a strange rattle hold the fuck up. Stella says, don't you... Wait! She's talking. The sound is Alejandro.
So he
right?
is a nymph.
Stella says, don't you dare. Alejandro says the shadows only provide information they want to give. The Shadow Princess is drawing closer. Alejandro agrees, but he says, don't anymore. Stella calls him a liar, and a strange rattle fills the air. Why is he rattling?
Well, he's got
what the fuck? So he's got to be a nymph. Brittany.
God, please tell me it is not Diego's abuelo that is the Shadow Princess. Abuelo, whatever.
That'd be
the grandfather, whatever.
Oh my god.
I love that theory.
Stella calls him a liar, and a strange rattle fills the air. Stella says, don't you dare. Alejandro says the shadows only provide information they want to give. He is either a nymph or he was the one chasing them in the alleyway, but I thought we established that all nymphs make that noise. I don't know.
All nymphs do make that noise. Now, he never sees them, so there could be a nymph in the room making that sound.
But Stella tells him, don't you dare. And that rattle, isn't that when they're about to, like they're trying to take power away? So wouldn't that be Stella's response to tell him to stop trying to take my power away?
Right. So is Diego a nymph?
We thought that to begin with.
Okay, wait. But let's discuss this for a second. Because is a nymph a fae that has been given over to the shadow people?
I will go ahead and say this. Nymphs are not fae.
And we had discussed that before, but it does seem that way. So I was like, okay, maybe it's a theory.
But faes can turn into nymphs.
I don't know about that.
They can't be forced
I don't think they
into a nymph, like with what his grandmother did.
They're different species.
So what his grandmother did was bind her soul to the knitwear and then gave herself to the shadows so that his family would be connected to the shadows. Also, you have to remember that all the nymphs have shadow powers, and Diego says he doesn't. He's connected, but he can't wield them.
Well, to combat that, I mean, he's a liar, so that might mean nothing. But I feel like we would know by now if he had shadow powers, because there would be like some kind of hint, like he'd have it in his eyes or something, like Tory and Darcy do. Oh wait, there was that one time!
I was just like, that's why I pointed it out, but
Wait, there was that one time. So he's lying.
Maybe.
He's lying again.
Maybe. But I did point it out so that you would make that choice.
Bro, this little shit, and Darcy believes him again. He's the worst. He is the worst.
I mean, y'all's theory in the beginning was that the nymphs weren't bad. If he is a nymph, maybe he's not bad.
I mean, that's possible, but I don't like that he's still lying.
I'm trying my best not to say things.
Do you have, if somebody could control the nymphs, they would be exceptionally powerful, right? So could you have people that they wanted access to the shadows to control the nymphs, but they're still kind of caught in the middle, so they would actually be good people, but it's people like Alejandro and his family that want to control them?
What to say? There is someone who can control the nymphs.
The Shadow Princess. Wouldn't it be funny if it was Tory and Diego had to deal with her?
Okay, yes. The Shadow Princess is the only one who can control the nymphs.
Okay.
Who could it be? What if it's their mom?
Catalina? You mean Darius's mom or the twins' mom?
The twins' mom,
Okay.
not Darius's mom.
Catalina is Darius's mom, Marissa Vega.
Yeah. Christy, final thoughts?
I mean, I was with you with the Marissa Vega, that it was the twins' mom until Brittany couldn't remember her name. And I feel like if she was that important, Brittany would have
But at the same time, I forget things on a daily basis. I couldn't remember Tiberius's name either.
Yeah, but he's kind of a secondary character.
Marissa was just a guess. I don't necessarily actually think that, but wouldn't that be crazy?
I think it's got to be. Something has to come back to... Okay, let me ask you this. Have we met the Shadow Princess at this point, not realizing that's who she was?
The Shadow Princess has been named.
Okay, but she's not somebody maybe that we've seen their point of view.
Is it Orion's sister?
Oh, that's such a good thought. Yes.
I feel like if it was, she would have given it away. I think I'm wrong.
Of course, you said, though, Clara liked Lionel, and she was willingly there. So if she was a shadow princess, she would have probably worked directly with Lionel at that point.
Yeah.
I will say this, when I first read that, I did not catch the Rattlefield there either.
Yeah.
Orion saves Xavier from being caught eavesdropping, and they go to dinner, and Stella, the most wonderful mother of all, talks about this magical field of study called order selection, where they can now determine what order a child is going to be so that they can get rid of any unwanted orders. I feel like this might come up later.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Well, first of all, it was like such a slap in the face to Xavier, because blatantly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And how about when Stella's like, well, we didn't realize how difficult it was to raise a Libra. And then that other family member's like, yeah, we did star sign correction, and now they identify as an Aquarius.
I died. I was like, that's not how it works. Oh man, it doesn't shock me that Stella and Lionel are essentially Nazis who are trying to commit genocide. That doesn't shock me even a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm kind of hoping they get some comeuppance from the stars.
Do too.
Because basically they're taking what the stars have deemed important and kind of giving middle finger, so hopefully they will.
Yeah. Kind of like what Christians are doing.
Kind of. What do you mean, kind of?
They believe in this God that does it wrong, and then they're like, but you can't be gay.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Stella has managed to do something with the shadows, and Lionel volunteers Xavier to be the one that it's tested on. And he manages to fight it off pretty quickly by anchoring himself with Sophia.
Oh, little friend.
Just the idea of her too.
Yeah, he hasn't
never
even met her, barely spoken to her through the messages, and he's already like, she's my anchor.
Oh, that was so cute.
Good for him. What a sweet little baby boy.
So later on, Orion shows up at Darcy's bedroom window, and she lets him in, and they start to get a little hot and heavy when there's a knock at the door.
Oh.
And it's Diego.
This fucker.
That's the floor.
And we learn a lot about him, some of which reveal, like, we finally get to learn what's with the hat.
I lost it. You were like, you need to keep reading. And I was like, the fucking hat! I was at work going, the hat! The fucking hat! I was like laughing to myself. I looked crazy. I was sitting in this dark room processing old documents, just like laughing out loud like an insane person.
Oh my God, the first time you ever came to me and was like, I think there's something under that hat. And I really wanted to be like, yeah, his grandma's soul.
What the fuck, dude? I'm obsessed. It couldn't have got any weirder. I feel like I knew something was up with the hat, but like, damn, they really showed me.
It wasn't his curls.
Nope. Wow. Wow.
But imagine, like, okay, so I think his mother, we learn later, has mittens, and the uncle has a scarf, and he has a hat. If you had to choose any of those,
It's the hat.
you would wear the soul hat?
Yeah, I hate stuff around my neck, and
That's true.
no fucking
Me
way I'm
too.
going through life with mittens on.
That's true. I didn't think about that. I do hate things around my neck.
Yeah, like sometimes I hate my own hair. Like,
Yeah.
no way I would hate that so much.
Mittens. Did they not get a choice in what was like?
I think it's whatever the abuela was like, I can knit this.
She could have knitted anything. She could have knit a fucking bra, and she knitted them winter wear.
Yeah.
You'd have to wear that bra forever. No.
Yeah, but you could put it on over anything. Like, potentially, you could, like, put that under clothes. You could put that over a bra you're wearing already. You know what I mean? Like, it had to be mittens.
Or
like,
a bracelet.
or, yeah.
That's true.
Anything.
She could have done
Socks?
a bracelet.
You can knit great socks.
What to do when you go to the beach, though? It means all the fucking shadows are just right on you because you can't wear your socks
Yeah.
to the beach.
At the beach, you're just gonna have to deal with it.
He also reveals that he knows that Darius, Orion, Tory, and Darcy all have the shadows. Because he claims that he can see them, but not use them.
That freaked me out a little, that he knows all that shit. I mean, now he
Yeah.
has something huge on them.
He does. Though he
does.
claims that, he's like, Darcy, I will not tell my family this. You are my queen. I am loyal only to you and your sister, supposedly.
When he bowed, I did get a lot of satisfaction out of that, actually, even if it's a lie.
And he says he was only supposed to spy, and he's never given anything of importance over to his uncle. Do we think this is true?
No.
I think that little rat is giving him everything. And just the fact that he said, I would never give it to my family, he could give it to Lionel, and that statement would still be true.
Yeah. Let's say he actually never intended to double cross them. Let's say he truly believes he didn't give away any information. He still could have told his uncle something that he thought was not important, and it was.
Yep.
He also says that betraying his family is the most terrifying thing that he's ever done, because his family is apparently super scary.
Because he's a nymph. And he's switching sides.
So does that mean we're forgiving Diego for all that he did at the fair?
Nope.
No.
Even though he points out that he wasn't wearing his soul hat at the fair, and when he doesn't wear it, it makes the shadow darkness come out in him.
Listen, until he's proven to me that he is not a little snitch, no. Absolutely not.
Yeah. He's going to lose something important to himself, like a nut.
Something
Like his abuela's hat.
Yes, and he burns the hat.
But then he wouldn't be, connected to the shadows. He wouldn't be able to keep the shadows down. That's what he basically said, that it helps him.
Yeah.
He's connected.
Control himself.
But also, again, if he's a nymph, he had to have killed somebody to get his air magic.
I believe it. I believe he did it.
Did Tory wear his hat and control the shadows?
Oh, good question. Look at her face. I hope they steal it.
It's like, I don't even want to be in the same room as that hat.
That's so fair, but if it works, it works. I don't know. Maybe it would work. Stop making faces, Brittany. What are you thinking? I need to know.
So we don't forgive Diego.
No. He's got a long road to hoe before that happens. He's got to prove some stuff in a fighting situation. I feel like he got forgiven way too many times for shit he pulled that blatantly he wasn't sorry for.
I feel like I can forgive other characters for shit like that because they have outside influences that are still acting upon them and they're struggling with it. You know what I mean? But Diego
says that his family will know he betrayed them if he doesn't give them information. He still has outside forces.
But considering I think he's still betraying them. Now, if he wasn't and he was really trying to change things, that would be different. But I don't know that yet, so.
And of course, Orion is in the bathroom hearing all this, and he flips the fuck out on Darcy.
I thought, at first I was kind of upset with him, like, as I was reading it, because I was like, calm down. Whoa, you can't tell her what to do. But then he kind of, like, simmers a bit, and he's like, I'm sorry, I'm just really worried. And I was like, okay, that's fair. You're so right, King.
Tory is being dumb and practicing with the shadows in the open. And of course she's like, she gets a message from Caleb saying, I'm watching you. And she's like, oh fuck, did he see? And I'm like, this is where you learn not to mess with the shadows in the open. Because again, illegal. And then of course he pushes her off the cliff in their new game. And they land on the beach and things get a little steamy.
Gotta have some Caleb Tory spicy scenes. Of course.
Tory is basically using sex with Caleb to banish the shadows. Pretty hard.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And they have this moment where Tory's like, if you had to choose between my body and my blood, which would you choose?
And he struggles for a second.
He's like, I want you to know what I'd be giving up. I can just go get blood from your sister too. So, which by the way, I do not think Orion would be allowing that. Like, even though Caleb's the more powerful vampire, I think he would still, even if he lost, he'd be getting up and being like, no, I do not yield.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't see that happening anytime soon.
So she has order enhancement with Gabriel next, and Caleb lets it slip here that Gabriel is his family.
Oh, yeah. So, like, so he's adopted. How does that work?
His wife is a vampire.
Oh, right. Interesting. So his wife is well off.
Nope.
No?
Yeah.
How'd she keep a harem then?
Well, to be fair, she's married to like...
They keep her.
4 gang members. So imagine if he were related to the twins, that would mean that Caleb is now related to Tory.
Oh, that's horrible.
Oh no. God, this is Arkansas.
I mean, not by blood, but
Terrible.
Oh my God.
that would be funny, though, if it turned out that way.
That'd be crazy.
All right, so Tori has to get to the orb for the class, and this is where Caleb's like, "Hop on, little monkey."
Hop on, spider monkey.
I mean, it's not the only time he says it either. He will say it again later on in the book. Sorry.
I know that they were referencing Twilight.
Oh, why?
Because vampires.
Why would you reference that?
A lot of people love Twilight.
Yeah, it was really big for a while.
It has like a cult following.
Oh.
One of my good friends is obsessed with Twilight.
Really?
Like a lot of people consume it still as like I don't know. There's a lot of people that really love Twilight.
See, I felt like the only reason it got big was because that was right when Harry Potter ended and people were desperate for something else to fill the space. Like,
and the fact that Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson had their on-the-screen and off-the-screen romance, and people were like, I must know.
Yeah, but people really love the books and the movies. It is like a joke now, but
I will admit, like, I read all 4 books in like a week.
yeah, I read them really fast.
Once I was done with them, I was done with them.
Same.
yeah, I mean, I read them as well, but it was very much like, really? I don't know.
Yeah.
And the movies are even worse.
They are, but it's like one of those things. It's like they have a cult following. Like people love it.
So Tori is hoping that they learn how to fly in Order Enhancement, but she also thinks that they're going to take it slow. And this is something she says over and over and over again. She really wants to fly. And she gets her wish. He's just like, bring your wings out, let's go. It's like the hardest part is diving off the cliff.
He's fun as a teacher.
I love him. This is where he was like, yeah, I've seen enough of our future that I know we're Nebula allies, and why don't you come hang out with me and my friends this weekend?
I immediately knew that Orion was going to be there. Immediately. I was like, oh, that's a recipe for disaster.
He also makes comments about, people do inappropriate things with teachers all the time, Darcy.
He's a terrible...
And Tori, don't worry, you won't be burning down any more dorm rooms by your wings.
Damn.
Super implying that he knows, and clearly he does know. But I just love that he's like, I'm not going to say it outright.
He's like,
I'm just going to let you know.
I've read these books.
And so it's Orion's 26th birthday. This is why I knew his exact age, which, by the way, Gabriel is the same age as him. So he's about 25, 26, depending on... Does Libra come before Scorpio?
Yeah.
So then he's still 25 because Gabriel is Scorpio.
Oh, he's a Scorpio.
Yep.
I also love that Orion is 26 because I am 26.
Yeah, I'm 10 years older than him.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Lily's like, it could happen.
I believe he said he's 8 years from Darcy, which when he said that in the book, I was like, oh, never say that aloud again. That's the worst thing you could have said. Oh my God.
Yeah, I love that when Tori's like, yeah, that means when you were my age, I was 10.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh.
Yeah, because it's gross.
Don't say that.
Yeah, don't point it out. Pretend.
So Darius has all these plans for the two of them. He wants to take him to the club, maybe go dancing, find some girls, though he doesn't really feel all that into finding a girl because he's only got one girl on the brain. So he's at Lance's house and Gabriel shows up and he hides in the bedroom. And Gabriel just takes over.
He's like, you can come out. I know we're all going to the club together. No point in pretending.
And so Darius bought him super expensive tickets to the pitball tournament. Gabriel gets him a plastic ring and he's like, oh my God, this is so awesome. And he like tosses the tickets aside. I felt so bad for Darius though.
Yeah, me too. A little bit.
I thought that was a little mean. Like,
it happens though, sadly.
Yeah, I also felt like I was like, okay, he's being kind of a dick, but it's all right.
Yeah. So Gabriel comes, he takes over. He's like, I know where we're going. Everybody else is there already. Let's go. And Darius is like, what the fuck? And so they go and they're all shocked to see the Vega twins there. And the Vega twins are like, these are your friends? We thought it'd be somebody we didn't know.
Yeah.
Like, do we really want to stay with these guys?
Especially Tori. She's like, fuck this.
Yeah. And so they do this truth or dare game where basically it's only dares. And if they fail the dare, they have to take this shot of this gross tasting liquid that also causes you pain for a whole minute. So Darius immediately is like, I dare you to be nice to me. And she takes the shot. And he is so impressed that she takes it so well. And I immediately was like, do Faye get period cramps? Because that's intense pain for a week. This is intense pain for a minute. Of course she took it well.
I'm sure they do.
And of course the guys are like, he's like, Max tries not to cry when he takes it, and Seth howls the whole time. I'm like, yeah, period pain.
Yeah.
Men try it and they can't handle it.
That doesn't shock me that they're little babies about it.
What were y'all thinking when this whole scene was going on?
I was honestly, just every part of me really wanted Tori and Darius to make up the whole time. I just really want them to make up somehow or have another moment or anything. I'm rooting for them.
I think they will at some point. And of course, I loved the dare for Orion.
Oh, it
where
was
he's working
fun.
with Tori. That was fantastic.
Your turn, Oreo.
Oh, that's another moment that I laughed out loud whenever he had to flirt with that guy.
Oh, yeah. And he picks Tori to go help him, and he's like, you flirt with him. And she's like, no, dude, he's clearly gay.
Yeah.
You go flirt with him. And he's so horrible at flirting. He's like, I have a birthday present for you to unwrap. A ribbon for you to pull.
Was it awkward in the audio?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, because
Oh,
that's
yeah.
not the way I read it. Okay.
Oh, no. The advantages of the audiobook are that you get to imagine it a little bit differently. And it was so funny. And Tori's like trying not to laugh in the background.
And at the end, he's like, I'll come for you later. Oh, yes, you will.
He's like, I don't want that mustache any closer to me.
Yeah. That mustache does sound gross. I do have a thing about
Yeah.
so turned off by mustaches.
So fair.
But anyway, I love that when they leave and Tori and Orion are talking about it, and he's like, did you get it? And he's like, oh no, he was too busy tweaking my nipples.
Oh, it's good stuff. What I love is after this, whenever they're all drunk and Orion is just so head over heels for Darcy.
Does she know she's everything? Does she know how everything she is?
I love it. I wish we had gotten Darius's POV at that time.
Oh yeah, and he's like, did you know how lucky you are that you could just go be with her? Go be with her, dude.
And Darius is like, yeah, I guess. I should go be with her. I should go be with her.
And Gabriel showing up and going, I'm gonna go screw my wife. And then he pushes Orion towards the Vega twins and says, take care of her. He's like, wait a minute, what do you mean her?
Yeah. He's like, wait, there's two of them. And then Tori bows out, which as soon as she did that, I got a red flag. I was just like, what is she doing?
Wouldn't Orion have known his friend would have known? I mean, he's known him forever. He would know that he would see the two of them together.
So the thing about the site is that he gets visions about the people he's close to and loves. So most of the time. So he might have thought, since Orion is somebody who's close.
Yeah.
But he's also been far away from Gabriel for a while. So maybe he was like, of course he's not going to see that I'm screwing a student.
Oh, man.
So they, after Tori bows out, they go back to his Cardinal Magic classroom, and Orion acts out one of his fantasies. Although beforehand, Darcy's like, I have to improvise a birthday present, and she gives him all these coupons, vouchers, whatever she wants to call it, for I owe you one striptease, one kiss wherever you like. And what the hell does that mean? Is it wherever you like, as in place, or
That's what I would
destination, or whatever you like, as in place on my body?
That's what I thought.
That's what I was thinking, on the body. Maybe he really wants a blowjob that day. He's like, I'm cashing this in.
We don't know what the other four say, so
Yeah.
he ends up bending her over his desk, and he's like, how am I supposed to teach in this class ever again?
Yep. And she does her little striptease, and it's clumsy, and he loves it. And then we end up with the fallout of that night.
But also, I love that he's like 5 points to air.
He's just so funny when he's drunk, dude. This is Orion's belt.
Oh my god. I would totally do that. I would totally be like, this is Orion's belt. And he's like, yep, and Orion wants you to take it off.
God damn it.
Oh, man. Okay, so next day they have water elemental class, and Washer tries to perv on Darcy, but she manages to keep him out due to her Phoenix flames. Thank God. And Tori's like, oh, I can't wait to see Max's face. And he shows up. He's like, finish that sentence. It's like, oh, your shorts are transparent. He's like, what? Oh, well, I don't have anything to worry about, right, Gress?
And she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. That floppy thing can go back home.
She was like, I have been with many people. So.
And he's like,
She's like, it's only been a week.
Oh my God.
What do you mean you've been with people?
Way to ruin him.
And he's like, I can just remind you of that tonight. And she's like, no, thanks. I already have a date with a gentle fae.
A gentle fae. I wish we could read a passage of stuff that she says for Christy in the audiobook. I want Christy to hear her.
I've played it for her.
Oh my goodness.
She goes, don't ruin it.
Although at this point, I don't think it would ruin it. I think it would just make me love her.
It makes me laugh so much. I love it.
My buttery bagels.
She is. Well, even all the shit she says for Max is just hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that Caleb, I think it's Caleb later, is like, that girl's so funny. I just don't know if she realizes it.
Yeah.
All right. And then this is where Darcy's like, well, Tory likes Darius if she could only admit to it, and if Darius could only apologize.
Oh, I love how Darius looks at Tori's cleavage and she puts a finger up through it.
And how about Washer putting his hands on Darius's waist?
Oh, that was funny. Oh my God.
I cannot believe him.
He stands up so straight that he knocks him out with his head.
He's gonna get in trouble one day. In big trouble.
Here's hoping. All right, so Darcy receives a message from Principal Nova to meet her at her office, and she does whatever she can to convince herself that it's not about Orion.
Definitely
and
not.
Her worst fears are confirmed when she gets there and Orion's there. And he goes pale too. And they go in. Yeah, me too. He goes in and she's got this photo of them together. Apparently the waitress or the chaperone, whatever, was paid off to take photos of Darius, which this is supposed to be a VIP section where they're supposed to have privacy. I would get that girl fired in a heartbeat. And Nova asks them to explain, even though she's like, I know, Orion, this is ridiculous, but I need to hear you, procedures and all. And why he chose to say that he was ambushed by the Vega twins, I don't know. Why couldn't they just be like, yeah, I went out for my birthday. They were there. She was drunk. I asked her if she needed a ride home. Woohoo.
Yeah.
End of it. Instead, she gets chastised for following her professor to a club and gets in serious trouble saying, if you ever harass him again, you're going to have some serious consequences.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was the same way. I felt like he kind of threw her under the bus a little bit.
I mean,
I get why he did, but it could have been handled better.
Yeah. And I don't hold that against Orion. I hold that against the authors.
Yeah.
I don't feel he would have ever done that.
Yeah, it's not really in his character. I kind of agree.
She also admits here that she has a crush on Orion, and she's like, you're not the first. Orion, maybe you should get married.
And he's like, I'm seeing Franny. And I was like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Also, do you think that people getting married stops people from crushing on you?
Yeah.
Wasn't Nova the one wanting his participation in the teacher pool?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Darcy runs out of there, goes to the bathroom, and Orion follows her. And this is the moment where she admits that she's scared that if she says she's all in, the sky will fall. And he was like, so say it and we'll see. He doesn't want to stop. He's like, I stopped caring about the consequences. I can't not have you. Can you not have me? She's like, Nope, not happening.
Obsessed. Absolutely obsessed.
And when they part ways, Darcy runs into Seth.
I was wondering where he was. I was waiting for him to show up.
And she kind of feels sorry for him. Again, he's like, I need my pack, Darcy. I need them. I can't be alone anymore. And she's like, fine, I challenge you. And then, of course, there's a magical barrier that comes up around him. His whole pack shows up, and she has to fight him, which she didn't realize was going to happen.
Christy, what are your thoughts on this?
Part of me felt like she deserved it for being that stupid yet again and believing that Seth in any way, shape, or form was a nice guy. Because even at the end when he tells her, well, it didn't have to be this way, that he could have given her some heads up. I get that it sounds like there was something in place that he couldn't actually tell her you can just give in and it has to stop.
Doesn't count unless it's a real fight.
Yeah. But he could have said something to the effect of, we really have to fight. However, if you say I win and you're done.
She wasn't allowed to give up, though. If she gave up, then it wouldn't count.
But she did give up.
Well, she gave up because she couldn't win, not because she was like, I don't really want to fight, so I give up.
Yeah.
She had to lose the fight on her own.
Yeah, but
I do have a question for you. You've said many times in the past that you don't think that Seth can do anything that isn't self-serving. Mm-hmm. He heals her. She's not part of the pack anymore, so he doesn't feel that obligation to her anymore. You don't think that was completely selfless?
I'm sure that more has something to do with him being able to look himself in the mirror somehow. Like, I don't think anything is everything is self-serving with him. It would all come back to him. No, I don't think he's capable of any good whatsoever. I mean, even look at how he reacted after she's no longer in his pack. Like, he's super psyched about going after her again, which I don't understand. At that moment, he could have killed her, couldn't he? And
they've mentioned several times that they're not allowed to kill him.
But what about in that situation of the challenge? If she didn't back down, he couldn't get to the point of killing her if she never backed down.
It would still count because it's still murder.
Yeah, I think he'd probably stop it. I think
he could have killed somebody else, but not a royal princess. Mm-hmm. Darius even mentions he didn't think that Lionel would kill his son now that there was no reason to kill him. Even though there is still a reason for Lionel.
Yeah.
But
yeah. What about you, Lily? What did you think of Seth?
I don't know. I felt like this was a little bit anticlimactic because it was like we kept waiting for this to happen and I knew it was going to happen, but I don't know. I felt like it was anticlimactic with Seth, but you know what I'm waiting for? I'm waiting for him to out Orion and Darcy because he saw them and he's convinced himself that it was because he was drunk or they kind of played it off. But where we left off in the book, someone took her atlas. I'm scared of him and I think he's going to out them.
Orion did tell her to delete all his messages.
But do you think she did?
I don't remember that. I hope she did.
When he first started texting her, he was like, by the way, remember to delete these as soon as you read them. He tells Darius the same thing.
Okay, I really hope that's correct and that he doesn't have access to that.
All right. So we get Caleb's point of view in Cardinal Magic. And the guys are so advanced that they don't have to pay attention to class. They get extra assignments later. I love that Orion breaks Seth's nose with a pineapple.
I was losing it. That shit is so funny.
Yeah, psychopath.
He's a psychopath. He threw a pineapple in my face.
And then the vampires fight over his blood. And Caleb's like, you do taste pretty good.
That shit is so
Not
funny.
as good as Tory, but...
why did he have a pineapple?
Well, he had a pineapple again that day when he brought in all the peaches and stuff, too.
Why, though?
For his lunch.
A whole pineapple?
Apparently, I don't know.
Fuck, O'Brien? It's to throw at students.
Yeah, I could see that. Most definitely.
That's great. That's a funny scene where they're all kind of fucking around with a spell.
Orion assigns them to work on their illusions. They have to make their voice sound like somebody else. So, of course, they all choose the Vega twins. And Darius is giving Caleb a hard time of like, oh, it's so small. I can't even do anything with that. And Caleb's like, oh my God, Caleb, it's so big.
I was disappointed no one did Jerry.
Yeah, but Jerry's right there in that classroom and they had their own interaction.
Oh,
True.
yes, that was great.
I don't think that they could talk like Jerry. It would never be believable.
Yeah, they have a lot to get down right about the accent.
But yeah, so Max throws all his powers at her and she's just like, okay, my nails.
People are stripping, throwing panties.
Marguerite.
Yes. That was a great reveal.
And Orion's like, okay, that's enough. I don't want to have to fill out paperwork. Back to your seat. And he's like, oh, by the way, 50 points to Tara for such a good shield. And she's like, yes, thank you. I didn't expect that. But can you tell this person to get off my desk? I forget the word she uses. He's like, yep, back to your seat, Rigel.
That's great.
And this is where Seth's like, what the fuck is happening to us, man?
Yeah. He's like, what's going on right now? And then Max is like, and then Seth says something to Darius that is like, I don't think Tori doesn't like you because of all of those reasons. I think she doesn't like you because you're an asshole.
Yeah, Darius is like, who knows what's with women? If you figure out the mystery of women, please let the rest of us know. And then Seth's like, yeah, I don't think that's your problem, dude. I think it's just because you're an asshole.
He's so stupid.
Yeah. And this is where Max is like, I think it's Max. He's like, you have the emotional range of a teaspoon. And he's like, I like teaspoons, which is very, like, almost word for word Hermione saying that to Ron in Harry Potter.
Yep.
I just thought it was hilarious.
No, that's great.
That at least, like, Ron is so perplexed by that. And then you see the dumbness of Seth here. He's like, no, but I like teaspoons. And they end up making bets on Max and Geraldine's relationship, which I don't think are any in Max's favor.
They're like, she's gonna break his heart.
Yeah. I thought there was one. That he got her in like a week or something. She was, I thought there was.
And so they, like, Darius leaves afterwards and they end up talking about an intervention on Saturday when they meet, which is also when they're supposed to decide whether or not they're going to enact their plans for the twins.
God.
It's like the third time they've talked about a plan and like haven't really gone through with it.
Any thoughts on what the plans are going to be?
Same shit, different day.
Yeah.
I will tell you, Halloween's coming up.
Oh, that's exciting. What could that mean?
Is it a big deal in their world for Halloween?
Fayween.
Fayween? Oh my God. Is that what they call it? Fayween?
Let's just say, like the eclipse, they get a notice from Nova saying, this time of the year might bring out some feelings in you, so stay in your rooms. And when you don't stay in your room, be careful.
Like murderous feelings?
Maybe.
The Purge? That would be crazy. Oh my God.
All right.
It's going to be the
So, Tori is once again being hunted by Caleb, and Orion kind of interferes. And we get yet another lecture about how hunting and vampires are bad. Like, I kind of want this to play out already if you're going to continue to bring it up.
Yeah.
Like,
I do like that Orion and Tori their relationship is getting more casual. Like, they're getting to know each other, kind of.
yeah. And the whole, like, why'd you help me? I thought you were your sister. I mean, my bad.
And then Tori doesn't catch that. Like, what?
Yeah. It's like, oh, playing favorites with your own source? And they talk about, like, Tori's offers, like, just call me Tori when we're not in class. And he's like, what are we, friends? And he's like, you gonna make me that friendship bracelet? She's like, no, that's Darcy thing. I'm more the take you to the bar and drink you under the table friend. And he's like, well, I'm a borderline alcoholic, so... She's like, well, me too. And that's when he kind of realizes that she's not doing what she's supposed to be doing with the shadows.
I like the two of them together.
Me too.
They are cute in a different way. Like, Orion's just cute with everybody. He's cute with Darius, too.
I agree.
We didn't talk about it, but when Darius shows up and he's like, you totally starfished whenever I left the bed. Yeah, they're cute. He's cute with everybody.
Yeah, Tori's like, you guys slept in the same bed, or maybe it was Darcy. You guys slept in the same bed, and he was like, shut up.
Yeah, he's like, we stayed up talking. And then Tori comes in then, and she's like, so let me get this straight. Y'all stayed up like two girls gossiping? And they're like, so did you. We're sisters. On her way back to the house, Tori is interrupted by Gabriel. He wants her to go to Darius to get some stardust. And he says, I've seen it. If you go before midnight, he'll give it to you. And so, of course, she goes back to her room and stalls for as long as possible. and then heads up. And I love that she knocks on his bedroom and he's just like, come in. And he didn't even realize who it was yet again. And he's like, as soon as she says a word, he's like, oh, it's you. You acknowledged my existence. I'm so happy.
He doesn't think it's going to be her. It's like the last person he expects.
Yeah. And so he says that she has to earn the stardust, and by earning it, she has to show him where to hide it. She doesn't remember using his toothbrush or apparently the jacuzzi, because as soon as she goes into the bathroom, she's like, you have a jacuzzi.
She was out of it that night.
She's obsessed with that jacuzzi. And they end up getting into a fight again, because he's like, why won't you talk to me? It's not like I can burn you. And she's like, oh, I don't know. We're in a bathroom. You could drown me. Or, choke me. Or push me in the mud and call me a whore again. And he's kind of like, he stammers, and he's like, you gotta know that and this is where I'm like, fucking say the words. Yeah. Just say, I'm sorry. I know you're trying, but he can't make himself do it. And I'm like, why can't you? Just say the goddamn words.
Yeah. I think this was the part where she talks about him saying it, that she just needs him to say, I'm sorry, specifically for those things.
And he can't do it.
Mm.
Yeah. And, she's like, I got somewhere else to be. And he automatically assumes it's to be with Caleb. So
Which
she goes
doesn't
back.
help either.
No. And she goes back to her room and he follows her. And they end up yelling at each other through the door.
He is trying, but he's stupid.
Yep.
He just needs to be honest and vulnerable. And he's not going to do that.
Yeah, not unless something forces him to, I think.
And then they have this moment where she gets really angry at him, right? And then
the shadows come out again and she's like, I should kill him.
But he takes her in his arms and hugs her and comforts her. And it's this beautiful scene, and it still goes wrong, but it's just so sad. I hate reading it, honestly.
Yeah.
So the girls have their first numerology class with Professor Fawn, who may or may not be a satyr, but is definitely stuck in the 70s with his disco ball and groovy music. And he teaches them to calculate their birth path numbers. Tory and Darcy got a 1, which means they're destined for leadership. Sophia got a 6, which means she's a caregiver. Diego got a 7, which means he's spiritual and looking for the meaning of life. I'm a 6. Totally not a caregiver.
I'm a 7.
That fits for you.
I did not actually figure mine up. It's funny because a part of me was like, ooh, we could do that all together. I didn't realize y'all had already done yours. I should have known. That was stupid.
I just did it in my head really quick because there's not that many numbers in mine.
Are you the 30th or the 31st?
30th.
I don't know your year, so. Huh?
Yeah.
You're an 8?
So we're 6, 7, 8.
That's
great.
What does 8 mean? Because they don't discuss it.
I don't think they discuss it. But is it actually accurate or?
Yeah, according to the internet, because I did look it up.
Oh, wow.
But again, I don't know if you can really. 8 is people who embrace their emotions and lead with their heart.
About embracing me.
I feel like you do that with animals.
So Professor Vaughn says that just because they got a 1 doesn't mean that they will actually rule Solaria. It just means that they're destined to lead. And Kylie's like, well, good, because I'd rather hang myself than bow to them. And Darcy's like, I found my first incentive to be a queen.
Oh my God.
So Darcy heads to the pitball stadium after that, and she's got tryout. Tori went to her room for something, but Darcy doesn't think she's coming back. And the door to the stadium is locked. So Caleb offers to let Caleb offers to let her in if she answers some questions, and he wants to know, what has Tori said about me? And she's like, that you're hot?
She's like, actually not that much, dude. Sorry.
Yeah. Then he's like, well, what does she want in a guy? For you not to be an asshole? He's like, I'm trying. Is he though?
No.
And then Seth arrives and they lock Darcy out. After him saying that he doesn't think that she can make it, which of course then she's like, I didn't think I could make it, but now I have to.
Good for her. That's right. That's very Faye of her.
Yeah. So she wants to be a substitute to. That doesn't go as planned. But in order to get in, she has to basically fly over the roof. And she doesn't quite make the landing, but she was like, at least it wasn't completely embarrassing. And Orion gives her some house points for it. He's like, it would have been more if you'd made it, but good effort.
And we get to see Orion play pitball a little bit.
Yeah, he was like, or Geraldine's like, go do a demonstration. And he's like, no, but okay. I kind of want to.
If you insist.
If you insist. I didn't, like, he runs on air, I think. And I was just like, why don't other people do that? He creates an air barrier to run on.
Genius.
The team is in need of an air sentry and a pit keeper. So Darcy chooses the pit keeper. Orion agrees with her choice. And then tryouts commence.
And she kicks ass.
She does. Like, there's one girl who manages as an air sentry, so I'm assuming she got the position. And then when Darcy takes her turn as a pit keeper, she and Elijah Indus are trying, and she manages to keep the ball out. And so Seth gets the ball. And even though he's supposed to be playing defense, he turns on her and tries to make a pit.
Yeah.
And she blocks him. And I loved that moment. I was like, you show him, Darcy.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
And Orion's like, gold! I found gold!
So happy for Orion.
So again, Halloween is coming up. Any thoughts on what their costumes might be?
Oh, Tori's gonna be so slutty. What is she gonna be, though?
You have no idea.
I was thinking like nun for Tory or something.
Tori, a nun?
Yes.
You know what would be really, really awesome if Darcy was a slutty pitball player. That would be so good.
And for Tori?
A slutty dragon? I don't know. Maybe a black cat, stick with the good stuff, the basics, maybe.
What if Tory was an iguana?
An iguana?
With a little name tag that said Lionel.
Oh my god.
Oh, man.
That would be great.
What about Sophia?
I don't know. All I can think of is My Little Pony.
My Little Pony? Oh my god.
She is her own costume.
All she has to do is show up for Caleb. He'll lose it. I don't know what their costumes could be, but that is so fun.
Geraldine?
I'm excited.
Costume for Geraldine? Any thoughts?
Geraldine's gonna be something ridiculous, and like covered up. It's not gonna be slutty. No? Slutty Jerry? Oh my god.
What about the boys?
Probably something stupid because I don't
Yeah.
think they've got imaginations to do
Something
fun.
dumb.
Yeah. Like
You think
Caleb
they're
will
gonna
come
do a
as
group?
Dracula.
A group
Caleb will
costume?
come as Dracula. What were you saying, Lily?
What if they did a group costume?
A group costume?
The heirs, yeah.
As...
I don't know. I would love if Tori dressed up as like a queen just to piss them off. Yeah.
I will say this. Her costume does piss them off.
Good. That's very Tori of her.
I still want to know Jerry's though.
Will Orion show up to the party the way he showed up to the eclipse party? Teachers aren't supposed to know.
I don't know. I don't think he would after they almost got in trouble.
So I will give you this teaser. The heirs' plans occur at Halloween.
No, that's no fun. I want a fun scene. Boo.
And you're probably going to hate Seth even more.
I don't think that's possible.
We knew it was coming.
Lily's definitely going to hate Seth even more.
Why are you saying me?
Because Christy said she didn't think it was possible for her to hate.
I'm at max level of Seth hatred.
I believe you could get further in that pit.
I mean, I hated it more. I was so mad at him. What do you think how Tori is going to react to the cheerleading squad? I think we talked about it a little, but...
That I'm looking forward to. I hope she's like the base and they throw Marguerite up and she just steps back.
Like, I'll catch you.
Yeah.
That would be funny, but do you really think Marguerite would trust her? Or that she would allow herself to be in the bottom?
I think she's going to do something that just like humiliates the shit out of them.
I really hope she embraces it because I want to see how that goes.
You have to get to. Okay.
I hope it drives Darius up the fucking wall.
So Caleb said that people try to pit the boys against each other.
Yeah.
and drive them apart. Do you think there's anything that will ever drive Tori and Darcy apart?
Oh no. Why would you say that?
Secrets?
For more questions, I'm running out of questions.
No, I think that wasn't that's foreshadowing, and I don't like that. I don't like that.
I think they will always come back together, though.
Yeah, but I still don't like that. But I think that the shadows could potentially cause a rift for sure.
What about the boys? Do you think that even though they say nothing's gonna let them get between them?
No, yeah, I definitely think they could be torn apart.
I think it's easier for them than Tori and Darcy to have issues.
Especially once everybody figures out that Lionel is going after the throne himself. Would they not somehow think, because they've all along noted how Darius keeps secrets from them. Normally they think it's to protect him, but would they not see that as a betrayal that he didn't tell them anything about it? Maybe that's because he wanted the throne for himself.
That question will be answered next part.
Oh no. I think that maybe I do kind of feel like Darcy not telling Tori about Orion could be an issue, because there's a moment in this section of the book where Tori says something. She says, "We don't do secrets."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Darcy's doing secrets. And it's really sad because Tori's like, I have to go tell her that I'm doing the shadows without her because I don't want to lie to her. And Darcy's
true.
lying to her.
But do you really think that if Tori's secret would harm Darcy, that she would keep that secret?
I do, but I'm just saying that I don't know if it'll cause a rift between them, but I do think Tori will be hurt by that.
Especially if somebody else knows before her and she finds out
Yeah.
secondhand from somebody other than Darcy that it's happened.
Yeah, that would suck. Yeah.
Do you think Tori's gonna find out about Orion before everybody else? If they find out about everybody?
About them being together? Yeah, I think she's going to find out secondhand.
Maybe through Darius.
Yeah. Oh, that would really
How do you
piss
think
her off.
Darius is gonna take it?
I think Darius is going to be a little blown, but he's going to be like, yeah, well, I'm kind of in the same boat as you. You know what I mean? He'll be like, that's fair. I feel the same. And then he's going to get over it really fast. And then he's going to be talking to Tori or something and let it slip. And she's going to feel so hurt.
I think that's exactly how it's going to happen.
I hope that I am an oracle again and I am correct.
All right, I'm out of questions, so I think we have Christmas coming up too. I don't remember if it's in this next part or if it's in the last section, but
Famous?
Christmas.
Famous? I can't.
Famous.
I just assume everything has Faye in the beginning.
Oh, God, never
It's
mind. I got
actually
it.
Christmas here, but
Damn.
yeah.
They don't know Christ. What the hell?
Yeah, I know, right?
All right. That's it for part 1 of the book. We hope that you've enjoyed the show. Next episode, we're going to be discussing book 4, Shadow Princess, chapters 17 through 32. New episodes drop every week.
Please remember to like, subscribe, and follow us on social media. That like and follow are super important for us to be able to continue to bring you new episodes each week. So please do so. Thank you for listening to the Midnight Readers podcast. We'll see you next week.
Happy reading, listeners. Don't stay up too late.